What's up, everyone? Let's talk about entering the matrix because we all know that we've been mastering exiting the matrix. If you haven't seen my video, you can check that out, but there's also others who have put out information on that topic who are basically the matrix themselves. You've been able to see, you understand what you're actually doing on a soul level as far as your evolution. And it does involve like really going into a level of sovereignty where you are pushing yourself to that next level of letting go of some of those agreements that are hindering your soul's path. So let's talk about, once we've achieved that approach, learning how to then enter the matrix, because honestly there's nothing wrong with the matrix. It's just another system, but in my opinion it gets out of alignment when it starts to control the human brain and the human spirit. That's when we need to exit. That's when we need to get clear. We need to go on the land. We need to become more self-sustainable. Then once we sort of achieve that within ourselves, we can then approach the matrix in a more sacred way, because honestly everything is God in the end. Everything is of source, of light, of this eternal aspect of living life. So the matrix is an aspect of that. Granted, it's a lower dense system of that, but we can enter it with a sacred mind, a sacred heart. We can use the resources that are available in the matrix. For instance, I'm climbing. I get to commune. There is beauty, there's love in the matrix. It's kind of like thinking, well, I want to build a house and go homestead and be completely off grid, but unfortunately you may find yourself at Home Depot. It's sort of like that. We have to integrate and sort of achieve our goals through using all of these different resources that are available, but also kind of approaching them in, like I said, a sacred way. So when we are entering back into the matrix, we must know that there is a hive mind. We're approaching a whole network, a system of thinking that is alien to ours. It is outside of what we have created for ourselves. So we must enter the matrix with a mindful observation. It's almost like a silent witness. You're going to hear and pick up things psychically. You're going to be around people that are on a lower frequency. So we must be able to not only just observe that, but be neutral to it all, because we have extricated ourselves from that hive mind. We are no longer going along with those ways of being, and so we must be able to at least acknowledge it for what it is, but no longer be taken over by that matrices. So another thing I've noticed is we are sent on missions a lot of times to go back into the matrix to create bridges. We are not called in any way to save anybody. We are just bridgers of light, ambassadors. I feel a lot of us in the past have wanted to be Superman, Superwoman, and save the world, but really, as as a person that's been on several missions back into the matrix, I've realized that that's not what the universe is calling, because each soul, each pod of light must awaken itself. We must all go through that process. It's almost like in the movie when he pulls that prod out of the back of his head, Neo in the Matrix. We all must go through that excruciating, sort of jolting, shocking, painful experience of our evolutionary, spiritual, conscious awakening. We cannot go into the matrix thinking that we're going to do that for somebody else. We can't save anyone else. We must hold space and build bridges through communing, connecting, showing an example of that loving unconditional light that you hold within your essence. Just going in with your presence a lot of times is enough, holding that higher frequency. So going back into the matrix can be a lot of fun sometimes, but a lot of times it's a lot of work. We have already sort of unprogrammed a lot of the simulation, so when you go back into that extreme amount of, like, say you're in like a vast, wide open landscape of a desert, and then all of a sudden you go into a city like I just did, there's just like this, it's almost like being impacted with a lot of systematic propaganda, conditioning. You really have to monitor and continue to clear and cleanse out a lot of it by being very mindful. Something I like to do when I'm driving, like on the freeway, is I don't read the billboards. I've learned not to, because it's all conditioning, and a lot of times it will send you into a program that your mind just doesn't need to go into. So I've actually really become disciplined, and I focus on the road. I focus on what's ahead of me and what I really want to set my intention, set my mind to focus on. So that's similar to when you enter into the matrix. Don't read all the signs that they're presenting to you. You can filter a lot of it out. You can focus on what your true mission is. So just knowing that the matrix is specifically designed to control the human mind, and knowing that that no longer has control over you. You've already had your awakening, you've already evolved, you've learned how to exit the matrix, you're in control of your own, simulation basically. And you're going into higher levels of being, higher levels of thinking, and you've become sort of like an ambassador building bridges to higher worlds.